good evening, everybody. Good evening. We're a few minutes early, but we're going to let people roll in. But we have a flashback that we're going to be doing here shortly. Hey, Josh, what's going on? She's a Wildflower, RCX, Tom, Cad, Koala. Good evening, everybody. Pretty nice day in the Ozarks. The trees are definitely, it is definitely spring. The dogwoods are turning all white. I think they're dogwoods. What's going on? What's going on? Lenora's up in the house. She's a Wildflower. Mama Leem, hello, how are you? If you could do me a favor on your way in, make sure you hit that thumbs up. And let's get into it, y'all. We'll let the slow comers come up in. Um, they'll be here shortly, but I want y'all to watch this. Now, this is a flashback. It's a flashback, and it should really make us think. I did this video in 2020. So let's watch it. It's about 10 minutes long, and then let's talk about some things. Really, let's talk about the things that are going to get you through to survive what's coming, because what's coming, I don't think anybody is prepared for what's coming, honestly. We can all sit and say, hey, we're prepped up in this, we're prepped up in that. But I think with what's coming at us, I think it's going to be something that we'll never, ever forget. So let's watch this 10-minute throwback flashback video from 2020, and then let's see what y'all think about this. Here it is. I guess we all need to lower our expectations. Is our quality of life being stolen right in front of our eyes? Our dollar is shrinking. We have runaway inflation, restrictions, gas prices, and the state of our country is in a desperate, desperate situation. We shouldn't rant about having to wait in line. We shouldn't have to rant or be uncomfortable to get a loaf of bread. But these are the things that we're seeing around the country. Shortages. The top 10: bottled water, bread, pasta, toilet paper, paper towels, Lunchables, pumpkin. Of course we can't have our pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving. And meat prices soaring. It's hard to get a used car. It's hard to rent a car right now. You can't get a microchip to replace a part on your car. You may have to wait for weeks.
Lumber, the prices are soaring. We've gotten so comfortable in the United States that these things make us feel quite uncomfortable. In many third world countries, you're lucky to get a loaf of bread. In many third world countries, you're lucky to get medical attention. Are we becoming a third world country? Is this what our new horizon is bringing to our country? Is it already here? These are things to think about. Our quality of life is being stolen right before our eyes. Our children and our grandchildren's future is like water running through our hands. Is this happening across the world, around the world? Are we expected to act and walk a certain way? Have we been so complacent that we sat back and let this happen? What do we do? And how do we change these things? It's already here. As people around the country report about shortages, as you can walk in a restaurant and you have to wear your face diaper, but while you're eating, you can take it off. People can't go to restaurants and bars, dance halls, concerts, not unless you have it. Oh, and let's keep him from playing sports because he doesn't have it. Oh, someone in the school has it. Let's shut down the school. Let's make sure the kids walk 6 feet apart. We're being conditioned. We're being conditioned for a new United States. We're being conditioned for a new world. They want to watch our money. They want to watch our money closely. What goes in and out of our accounts? What about what goes in and out of their accounts? They want to be in control of every aspect of our life, from our medical, to our money, to our children. I've watched some disturbing videos the last few days about a mother that went to pick up her child at school. But because she didn't have a face diaper on, an administrator, a teacher, because of the way things are supposed to be, she wasn't an appropriate parent. And she was going to call the police on her. Well, this is what we've come to. This is the dividing factors. This is the time that we are being segregated into little sections of what we are or what we aren't according to the new standard. Will people rise? Is it too late to rise? Or are we going to just sit here and enjoy the ride? It's time to make a stand. It's time to take action. Learn to be self-sufficient and self-reliant. Do things on your own, for you and your family. Put away money. Put away silver and gold. The new cashless society, we let it roll right in on us. We got so used to using the card and the debit card and the ATM and paying people to get our own money back. Isn't that amazing? So many things we've been conditioned for and set up for this last 10, 15, even 20 years, even further back. This plan didn't just happen. This plan's been in motion and set in effect for quite some time. Will we survive? Will we make it? Will you make it? It's time, people. It's time to realize and open your eyes and see what's going on around you. This picture is way bigger than the current administration, and if you believe it has just to do with the current administration, your eyes and your head is still in the sand. But our quality of life, it definitely is being stolen right in front of us. At this point, what can we do? Are we going to become a third world country? Are we going to kneel down to the elite? I only kneel to one. And he's not here in a physical form, but he's all around us. Will good prevail over evil? You bet. You bet he will. Are we in for times of tribulation and trials? We already are. I never imagined that I, personally, would be put into a lockdown. I never committed any crime. And honestly, I never let it stop me. This last year and 10 months have been eye-opening, that's for sure. How easily the masses can be swayed. How easily the masses can be persuaded. How easily that carrot turns into a stick, and we're at the stick. Some things to think about, that's for sure. Because our quality of life is being stolen in front of us, and it's being stolen for our kids, our grandkids, our nieces and nephews. Is it time to learn a different way? I think so. Our ancestors did it, and we can too. Stand strong in your faith. Stand strong in the things that you believe. Stand strong. Speak out wherever you can.
Well, that's something to think about. I look back at, some of the videos that I have been able to retrieve from Off the Wall Prepper, and I look at them and I think, wow, this is where we were at when this channel first started and the censorship wasn't so bad and so deep. We could actually speak our minds and talk amongst ourselves as adults about all types of topics. And we've all seen over the last, 6 months how that's went out. We can't talk the way we used to. We have to be very careful what we say. And I think that it's so important right now that each and every one of us, that we really stand up for what we believe in, that we stand for what's right and what's wrong. And the thing is that I look around the country and it really saddens me because we're so divided. And RCX, I think, dropped it in the chat. We're so divided, folks. See, they don't have to send in an army to take us. We're taking ourselves. And the thing is until good people, Republicans and Democrats, libertarians, white, black, Puerto Ricans, Chinese, Asians, whatever nationality, it doesn't matter. Until good people come together, they're going to keep dividing us. If you watched OTWP TV News today, that video that I put together absolutely made me sick. These are young kids that have no directions. They have no one to look up to. And, all of us have to look in the mirror and realize that maybe we were part of the problem in the get-go. Maybe we were the ones that weren't doing what we were supposed to do. Maybe we weren't standing up when it was time to stand up. And I think about that often. Did I watch something happen that I should have said, oh, hell no, that's wrong? Many times it's pretty hard to keep me quiet. I speak out a lot. But I think that, as we see all this division, and I think that's the big thing is the division. The division is kicking our ass. The division is making us weaker and weaker as a society here in America, where people used to look up to us. And I'm not saying that everything that the government's ever done has been in the best interest of the people or people around the world. We have instigated a lot of things. But the thing is where do we go? And where do we go from here? We have to keep going forward. We have to keep putting our boots down. We have to keep taking the steps. But there's something you really need to know. Like, what are you going to really do to survive? What's it really going to take? I've seen comments in the chats and on my videos and things that OTWP, I live in the country, it's not happening here. I'm sorry to tell you, it's happening everywhere. It's happening all around the country. It doesn't matter if you're in an inner city. It doesn't matter if you're in a suburb. It doesn't matter if you're in rural America. We have been infested with drugs, crime, hate, division, and the list goes on and on. And until each one of us becomes the positive force, until each one of us takes a step in a different direction, where the hell are we going? Straight to where people don't want to be, where people are going to realize how serious this is. You could prep all you want to prep. You could have food and water, and you could have ammo and skills, and that could be really just the beginning of it. Because honestly, there's so many things that is prepping really just over? Should we just all just throw up our hands and walk away and say, you know what, it's not even worth it. It's not going to get us anywhere. Because when the powers that be come, when the NWO rolls in, then what? And you're right, Josh. Most people will bow down at the powers that be and say, "Oh, here we come. Go ahead, save me, save me." If you're on Telegram, I posted a video today. It's about 24 minutes long, and the person that did that animation is right on the money. Right on the money. What's going to occur? And everybody's going to be put into a little cubie, and people are going to line up because they're going to think they don't have any other choice. And that's where we've been for the last 3 years. Is a lot of choices were taken away from people. Choices to go to church, choices to go to school, people to go to work. And it's not about that we don't have the workforce. It's about people have become complacent. They've gotten pacified so much that our country we are weak. We're weak. And until we turn that around, what's going to happen, right? What's going to happen? I think about a lot of things. I read a lot. And, this is one thing that I really want to talk about tonight is like, how are we really going to survive? How are you really going to make it through it? I remember, and it was one of the best series, one of the funnest series I did. It was every Saturday morning, and we did the Lost Ways, and I loved it. But you hear so many preppers preach so much about skills because they give you an edge in this period where there's a resource crisis. And when food is too expensive or not available, then you have to have the option of looking into the wild places. It could be rivers, it could be forests, and the skills are going to give you the ability to do more with less. And that's exactly where you want to be. You want to be able to do more with less. When hyperinflation's coming in and we're getting ready to fall into this dark, dark black abyss, right? The quality of information that you take in is really important. See, prepping opportunities change with the environment, with the times. And many of you that started prepping a while ago, you probably have a stockpile of food, long-term food, water. If you just started when the big pandemic hit, then you may be behind. But it's okay. You can still keep on going, and you don't want to stop because it is motivation. What we're living in right now is to put your boots on the ground and do something every day. And see, you have to use the information to help you better understand the threats near you and create a plan for the future. And I'll tell you right now, the threats near us are right next door to you, right next door to me, in our cities, in the skies, in the ground, in the railways, in the water, in the news, in the media, in the government, everywhere. The threats are everywhere. We are surrounded by threats on a daily basis. We are also under threat from the fear mongering, YouTubers that all they want to do is make money off of you being scared. And they're pretty good at it, you know. A lot of them are really good at it. But as the threats change, we really have to take down and step down to this base level of preparedness with a growing collection of skills that are going to make the difference. See, prepping's not over, not quite. In fact, the lifestyle of us being self reliant, a balance between skills and purchase resources, there's a big difference. You can go buy all the shit you want to buy. You buy it up until you can't buy anymore. But the thing is your skills are really going to bring you through. See, that's one side of the equation that grows as the other side shrinks. And right now, the side that's shrinking is the purchased resources. When you start, you need many more purchase resources to achieve a basic level of preparedness. So if you're just getting on this journey, get out there, go to Aldi's, go to big stores where you can buy canned food cheap, 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 and get your ass in gear and do something. But then as you get more skills, you need less and less because you learn how to forage off the land and pick dandelions, pick mushrooms. I actually watched the cat last night in the backyard. Animals are very smart. Went right to a big old fat mushroom and it was like a steak dinner because that cat was tearing into it. And I said, look at that, dragonflies. That cat knows exactly what mushroom's good and what mushroom's bad. Just like animals, you'll go and if they have upset stomach, they'll go eat grass. See, they know where the good grass is and the bad grass. And we all need to learn that. We all need to learn where is the good mushrooms, where is the good wild foraging veggies? Where is the good dandelions versus the sprayed one? What kind of berry is that? What kind of leaf is that? What kind of tree is that? Because God gave us all those things to prep for what's happening right now. See? Because prepping's far from over. And we have to realize it pretty soon that we're not going to be able to buy our way out of a crisis. A lot of people think that they can just purchase everything. I wouldn't. I would suggest honestly that you do purchase some freeze dried food, and that you stock your pantries, you stock your medicine cabinets to the brim, to the top, to the rafters, under your bed, in your closet, in your cars, in your outbuildings, in 55-gallon barrels, wherever you can put it. Because we're coming to the point that the purchasing power of the American dollar is going to fail, and when it does, you're going to have to look into the woods and see medicine and food. And if you can defend yourself and your family, and if you can find and purify water, grow from seed, raise animals, make friends, make trades, preserve food, then you can outlast the buyers with ease. See, I've watched a lot of preppers that are new. I'll buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. No, come on. You can't continue to buy like that. Pretty soon you won't be able to buy like that because the purchasing power will be gone. But I want to talk a little bit too about this tonight. I'm kind of on a roll. I'm not really looking at the chat. So if you'd hold the questions to the end, because I am on a roll. When you look at the Amish, when you really look at the Amish, they can teach us more about living within a world with no electricity than those who've been doing it for hundreds of years, than those people that are on YouTube that are homesteaders that are off grid, than me and dragonflies that are off grid. See, the Amish are not only known for living a simple, humble life, but also crafting their own utensils, their tools, preparing everything they might need in any situation. They've been preserving their powerful ways for years and years and years and handing them on generation to generation. And I think the biggest thing that they have that we don't is the power of community. One of the core values of Amish people is community. They are a very self centered society, in a sense, in a natural sense. And they have been long forgotten by modern society. See, but now they're even getting some bullshit coming their way. When the SHTF happens, and looters are going to come together and they're going to make looting groups. They're going to go around and loot. And you've already seen this in Targets, Walmarts, stores, neighborhoods attacking it. And see, if you're not part of a strong community, you're going to be easy prey. You're going to be a very easy prey. And the Amish can teach us a really important lesson that overcoming any struggle is a matter of teamwork. Overcoming any problem is a matter of teamwork. When in need, it's really essential that all of us have some type of solid community of like-minded companions around us. Be it if it's your neighbor, be it if it's your friends, your family, but we all need community. And we've talked about it. We've talked about it for a while about community. And I'll tell you what, it's really, really important. The other thing that the Amish really, really know, and they have mastered it, is the power of plants. If there's one thing that I have observed about the Amish is they know how to use plants for multiple needs, from remedies to preparing meals. And they've learned how to do that out of any plant in their backyard, even the ones that might seem useless to me and you. And that's something really important. In a crisis, their pharmacy becomes their plants, right? And that's really important because sooner or later, we're going to wake up one day and the grocery stores, they're going to be locked up tight or they're going to be empty, or you're going to have slim pickings at a very, very high rate. And when that happens, that is when you're going to see people go ballistic. You're going to see people really have the meltdown. The other thing that the Amish do, and I hope that each one of you, as I'm saying this, drops a craft that you do in the chat. Maybe it's sewing, carpentry, plumbing, uh, whittling, making spoons, making your own thread, making your own material. Drop a craft that you really have taken and presented it and mastered it to a skill that is really, really useful. Because see, those skills are going to be a bartering item in the long run. Sooner or later, folks, a lot of preppers have been saying this. A lot of us have been saying this for a few years that we're going to have this meltdown of society and it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And then everybody's like, well, it's not happening. So people pump their brakes and they're like, everything's cool. I'm good. I'm good. You know, even reloading ammo, being able to fix a car. There's so many skills and so many crafters. And it's really important to tune in on a craft or something that you can offer in a serious meltdown of society where basically you have that skill that you can show. You can say, hey, I can do this for you and I need you to do this for me. And when you get to that point, that's going to be really important. Maybe you're a nurse, maybe you're a prior doctor, nurse, dental, and dental, big huge thing. Maybe you are a first responder, maybe you're prior military. There's a lot of skills, and we have to tune in on those skills because those skills are going to be a bartering item in the future. And I really, really think as society breaks down, as we become the big new third world country, which we're headed for, I think that that's going to be really important. Maybe you have a green thumb and everything you touch turns to vegetables. Some people got it. Some people just, I throw seeds out there and I honestly, last year I threw seeds out in mineral buckets and I don't have a green thumb. I didn't even pay attention to it, but I grew strawberries, onions, radishes, and tomatoes, and we just throw them out there. I didn't weed. I didn't water. I didn't put pesticides on them. I didn't do anything to them. Hey, Miss Needle, I just threw the seeds out there and let God take care of it. Whatever grew, grew. And guess what? We had a little garden. See, that's called lazy prepping. But it's prepping. And this year we want to step it up a little more. Valerie, nice to see you. Batgirl, da 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 da. Batgirl, I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see some of you found us and are rolling back in. We miss you. Um, so I think that those things are really, really important, and we're gonna have to learn them. Maybe you have fire skills that you can teach people how to start a fire. Maybe you have foraging skills. But I think skills are so, so important. And as we look at the Amish, maybe you should take the time to investigate, do some due diligence on the Amish, what the Amish stand for, what they can do, the things that they study, because those things can help us as Americans. And I think that it's really, really important that we all really think about that. They also have the power of caring for really simple things. See, It's hard to appreciate what we already have because we're lazy. Call Amazon, call Domino's, call Pizza Hut, turn on the phone, turn on the computer, slide your card in the ATM. We're lazy. And as soon as something breaks, what do we usually do? We replace it. But see, we really are aware that that's really not the best thing to do, but it's the easiest thing to do. And maybe we should start learning how to look after our goods, keep them in proper condition for a longer time. Yeah, I'll be honest. I take very, very good care of a lot of things. I have shirts, jeans, and clothes that are 20 years old. I still wear them. I just had to throw away a pair of shoes because I had them so long that the rubber sole came loose from them. I didn't know how to fix it. And, these things, learning how to fix windows, there's so many things. And having real basic tools like a hammer, screwdrivers, pliers, vice grips, those things are really going to help you. Having manual tools, manual belch pump to pump water, those are going to be really important. How to set up a rain catch, how to clean water without water purification tabs in the long haul. And I'm talking long haul. See, Amish communities do not have running water. The majority do not have running water. They're not connected to communal water pipes, so they do not depend on them at all. If the water stops suddenly for a few months, what are you going to do? In a crisis, you're going to have to expose yourself to possible danger to move out and go get water. And this could, okay, if you're the leader of your family, you're going to leave your wife and your kids to fend for themselves because you didn't prepare enough. Learning that bathing water, cooking water, washing your clothes, washing your dishes, that water can be recycled and reused on your plants, right? We all need a lot of water every single day. One thing the Amish community do have is wells. They also collect a lot of rainwater in cisterns. And that's where I kind of started following the Amish to collect rainwater and how to do it. And the tests on the water is unbelievably good. And then I will say this, the Amish not only believe in guns, but they also own them. If anyone comes to an Amish farm and wanted to steal their food, no one would go for their gun though. They're genuine pacifists right now. The looters would probably not be deterred physically. They would inform their English friends, what they call non-Amish or Mennonite Americans, who would call the police. Now, we're talking an SHTF, no police scenario, then they could possibly have local English friends on the property who would take little issue with protecting them. But Amish are very laid back and kicked back, and they believe in community and they believe in God. There's also a lot of power of not needing power. And see, almost all Amish live independently from the grid. And that's something that me and Dragonflies are really striving for this year is to live off the grid. We have the water down. I'm extending the water, but we have the water down. And I think that we look around our homes, right? And we need so much electricity to function. And that's going to be useless in a crisis. Refrigerators, air conditionings, microwaves, laptops, smartphones, radios, washing machines, lights, everything, right? In an EMP event, most cars, all of it will come to a halt. And the Amish, see, they're very smart. They use old school items to serve the same purpose. They have root cellars, long lasting foods, buggies with horses, many, many non electrical tools. And the most important thing that they do is they're not dependent on the grid. I think that there's a really good book out. It's called No Grid Survival Projects. I totally, totally recommend it. It started me on a different journey in the prepping community because I was going from prepping channel to prepping channel when I first started. And I was like, everybody's just talking nonsense and nobody's really doing anything. And see, that's why I like to do demos and stuff because I think it's so important to show people, even if it's the simplest thing, to show people how to do it, right? Because so many times, maybe you were in Boy Scouts, maybe you were in Girl Scouts and you learned some basics and you forgot. Or maybe you're new to the prepping idea. Maybe you see these guys behind me and you go, this shit could really happen. And when you start thinking like that, that's when maybe you stepped up your prepping game, or maybe because of the pandemic, you realized that things weren't as hunky dory as you thought they were. And I think that all those things come into play. And I think the most important thing is that you learn skills, basic skills. And, a lot of preppers channels on YouTube talk about the same thing over and over and over. And I don't think that it's bad, but I just think there's so much more to prepping, right? I think the biggest thing is that the more self-reliant you can become, the more skills you can learn, more you can learn to go out in the forest and say, that is a hickory nut, that is a birch tree, that is a blah 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 tree, that is an elderberry, that is a wild blackberry, and that that they haven't been sprayed, right? Except maybe with the things that are flying around there, then you could use those. And I think that, being able to know the difference in types of wood, because, I'll tell you this, my friends, if you have a fireplace and you just start throwing green wood in there, you're going to cause yourself problems. So there's a lot to learn. And really, preparedness is about a journey. And each one of us are at different levels. And the thing is that we just keep taking and making steps. You can't stop. And, I hate to hear people go, well, I have prepper burnout. What the hell is prepper burnout? It should be a way of life. It should be something that you want to do daily, right? Me and Dragonflies have a new thing that we're doing. We're going to get into archery. Dragonflies has some experience. I don't have a whole lot, except one time when I stood at one end of the yard and shot a real arrow at my brother and my stepmom. Well, we almost gave her a heart attack because she could hear us out there, and we had we snuck my dad's real bow and arrows. He stood on one end of the yard, I stood on the other end, and we were shooting them straight up at each other, real arrows, to see how close we could get. It was a very dangerous, stupid thing. We were young, and she could hear us out there screaming at each other. And she was like, she walked out and almost had a heart attack. She said, "Do y'all realize what you were shooting at each other?" We said, "Yeah, we were playing bow and arrows, except except with real bows and real arrows." We didn't know. We didn't know. We didn't know that if accidentally one of them would have hit us, would have went right through my shoulder and probably put me in the hospital. But these things, archery, you might run out of ammo, but if you can learn some basic archery, I think archery is I'm real excited about this journey with archery. And we're going to be showing it. I purchased these big targets, and so they're going to be in the back, and we purchased a compact, and we are also purchasing I forgot the other one's name. I'm new to it, but see, I'm learning, and I'm going to continue to learn. And I'm really excited about this archery thing because I think someday, you run out of bullets, then you could do other things to protect yourself or to hunt an animal and be able to process it. Yep, yep. Yes, well, one of them's, yeah, it's just like a regular old-fashioned bow. So I guess it would be called a longbow. And I have a, excuse me? Yeah, Dragonflies wants to do slingshots too. But see, like some of those primitive old ways, I think are really important. And Miss Needle and Simon, we have talked about mental preparedness for a long time. And I think that, being mentally prepared is really, really important. Um, well, you better get out and practice with it, Teresa. Make sure that everything's good on it and work with it. I think that, really being a good prepper is all about endurance. I really do. Simon Templar, I have a lot of respect for you because Simon, if you don't mind me sharing, Simon is disabled, but that guy works out every day. He works out every day. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not making no bow or an arrow and all that. We're purchasing one. I'm going to do it the easy way, and I'm going to get good at aiming, and I'm going to get good at using it, and I'm going to continue to go. That's the thing is I think it's really, really important to keep doing and learning skills. I think that the skills are going to bring us through stuff because when all the shiznick breaks loose, I don't think anybody is prepared for what's going to happen. And that's the truth. It may become very savage like for many years. And when it does break down, you know, you don't want to be standing there like, okay, I have no skills, I have nothing I can do, and you're sore today, Simon, but you keep on doing, Simon, and that's so important. You know, I didn't realize that I have to work tomorrow. I only get one day off this week. We're leaving soon to go to Colorado, and that's one thing I want to say to each and every one of you too, is while you can, do the things that mean something to you. Spend time with family. Learn what you need to do, like where your family stands, like what they think. Are they into prepping and they haven't talked to you about it? Or are they prepping food? Maybe your cousin, your first cousin, is involved in medical, and maybe it'd be time to bring them into your mag. Be very careful who you bring into your mag because it could be very dangerous. But I think the biggest thing is that, when it all breaks loose, some of the things that I have seen lately of what they're doing already is it's going to terrify people. It's going to terrify people. And that's going to be half the battle is when they can terrify you. And I agree. I agree with that a lot, Ben's over acres. The only one that's going to look out for you is you. The only one that can do the legwork is you. And that's the truth. Like each one of us, it doesn't matter if you're 50, it doesn't matter if you're 70, it doesn't matter if you're disabled, it doesn't matter any of that. The thing is if you're not taking action steps, if you're living in a dream world that you think it's going to be like Red Dawn or Mad Max or The Walking Dead, you got shit all twisted up. Because when it comes down to the real harsh reality of it, they're going to single families out, they're going to single people out, and people are going to disappear and people are going to wonder where they went. And if you can't be like a chameleon and roll with the punches, you may be a duck, you may be screwed. There's a time and a place for everything. And at this point in 2023, I think the time is to know that all of your preps got lost, that you have skills, but all your preps are gone. And it is very important, Mama Leem, to have faith in God, to be centered. I've said that from day one on this channel, being centered. And, your God, and I'll be honest, your God may not be the same God as I believe in. And that's okay. But I hope that you believe in something that keeps you centered. Physical fitness is very, very important. Simon, I've always agreed with you. I've always appreciated the things you've sent me. Um, but the thing is, too, is Dragonflies and me were talking about this in detail. She just threw it in the chat. What are you going to do when you can't get medicine and you can't go to the doctor or the hospital? Now is when to learn some first aid, to learn some basics, and also to maybe find alternatives to those medicines that you're on or to get off of them if you can. I'm not a medical doctor. I would say definitely talk to someone that's in the medical field and see if you can cut down. You know, the thing is that I think this country is in a terrible whirlwind of shit. And I think that the pile of shit is getting deeper on the day by day basis. And I think it's the great plan. The great plan. And when you have this great plan and they really enforce it, right? When they really enforce it, which they have been, it's going to put pressure on each one of us. And we're really going to have to step back and buckle down and tighten our belts in many avenues and aspects to be able to take care of our families. And I don't know about y'all, but dragonflies and my dogs and my homestead means a lot to me. And you all mean a lot to me. So I want you to know also that, if there comes a time that you're like, man, I don't know, maybe I need to talk to somebody about this. I really don't know what to do. I do investigations. I do look at things deeper. And I'm always here. If y'all ever need somebody to talk to, you can email me. Many of you have emailed me. And many of you, have talked to me on the phone. And it really is, to me, the OTWP Mag is really about helping each other, not giving you a handout, but giving you a helping hand to learn. And I think that's really, really important. I think right now, Mama Leem, I think you're on the money about that. I think learning or taking a first aid class, a CPR class, any kind of class, honestly, anything. Learn how to reload bullets. Learn how to be a plumber. Learn how to be a carpenter. Take medical, take dental, take vision. There's a lot of new medical stuff out, and I'm going to be showing you when we get back from Colorado. I'm going to be doing a dental live because I have the Ozark Wink, and I learned a lot from this dental emergency and what is really important. Stop the Stop the bleed class, wound care. Dragonfly's certified in wound care. Me and Dragonflies are both certified propane handlers. There's a lot of things that you can look around at yourself and say, hey, I got this skill, I got that skill. And then if you have a skill that you need to tune in on more that you've been working on, do it now while you have the time to do it. I think another thing that's really important is that you need to learn to be versatile. You need to learn to not just concentrate on 2A, not just concentrate on food or water, but there's a lot that goes with prepping. There's a lot that goes into the preparedness community. Yep, and that's the truth, Josh. And most people aren't going to know how they'll react until that situation happens to them, and everybody's going to react differently. I think that you can't have enough of that, of the big ammo, of the second. I don't think you can have enough. I would suggest to everybody, I can't believe that anybody would have enough water purification or, right, or long-term food. So if you're sitting in the chat and you go, yeah, I really don't have to do nothing this week, I'm prepared, you're full of shit and you're a liar, and you probably need to go look in the mirror. And I'm just being harsh and straight up. Because prepping, being a prepper, being a prepared individual family unit, is you got to keep on moving. You got to keep doing things every single day. I mean, and in Dragonfly's right. We have crutches, we have canes, we have walking sticks, we have knee braces, we have ankle bracelets, we have wrist bandages, we have all of those things. We have gauze pads, and I still have a list of stuff when it comes to first aid that we have not done. So, the thing is even if you don't and use your preps, a lot of people go, well, I'm putting that away. I'm putting that away. Honestly, use your preps. We've been using our food preps. Rotate first in, first out. Very, very important. Don't go, oh, well, I'm saving that food and you continue to buy. It would be better to tune in on a skill because pretty soon buying should become less. Skills should become more important. How many of you right now feel that you need to tune in on more skills? I really think that skills are more important. If you're not getting notified, folks, I have realized this, and y'all need to realize this. You can't just hit the bell and leave. You got to hit the bell, look at the bell again, and hit all notifications. If you don't hit all notifications, you will not get notified. It's not YouTube doing it. It's called user error. Okay. All right. All right, Betty. We love you. Get some rest. Thank you. If y'all missed the live this morning, if you missed the live about what's going on with Betty, we did a faith get together this morning, and Betty came up on the panel and told the mag. And if you'd like to know, you need to go watch that live. Betty, we love you. Yeah. I think that's a good point, Brandy, is to use some of your preps. I got the dang all bell. Well, crap. Okay. But I think it's really important. I want to say to everybody, um, as Betty's leaving the chat, she came on this morning, and we all need to keep praying for Betty and for her family and the grandbabies. Uh, and I'm going to say it, and then I don't want to go way into it. If you'd like to know more, please go to the live this morning. But Betty does have stage 4 lung cancer. Okay. So Dragonflies just dropped the link. We had a very wonderful live this morning, and Betty came up on the panel and talked to everybody. So if you'd like to know more, please go to that live. And we love you, Betty. Let's just show a little love in the chat for Betty. We're gonna have things like this happen to us, people. And Betty, when me and her had a conversation on the phone, she said, I want to tell you this, OTWP. And I said, what's that? And she said, don't stop. She said, don't stop. And I said, okay, I'll never stop. And I gave her my word, no matter what. Ain't that right, Betty? Betty, means a lot to this channel. She's our head mod and for 2023, no matter what happens. Um, I hope tonight that each and every one of you took something from this live, that you maybe do a little more investigation into the ways of the Amish, that you maybe tune in on the skills that are going to bring you through. Because I'll tell you what, folks, it's really, really important that the skills are so important. Also, I am dropping the link if you'd like, if you do need gear, if you do need freeze dried food, if you do need water purification, an Alexa Pure, very, very similar to a Berkey. If you need survival seeds, if you could please use that link, that would help to support the channel. We are an affiliate. It doesn't cost you any more money. It just, they give us a small commission off of it, and it helps the channel keep going because I have had to drop some programs. Uh, Once Off the Wall Prepper came down, building up this new channel, I've had to drop some programs that really I think the channel liked and that I haven't been able to. I just can't afford to do it right now. I got to take care of me and Dragonflies. So if we all pool together, then that's a different story. Then I can bring some of those programs back. And one of them that I'm probably going to have to drop is trivia. I just can't carry the load for all of these programs. I just can't do it. Um, but if we can all put in $5 or $4 or $2 or whatever, it goes to help the program. I appreciate everybody that's a member very, very much. I appreciate the super chats, the stickers when you're purchasing things. I really appreciate it because it all goes back into our channel. Um, I hope that each and every one of you keeps doing the legwork, that you never give up no matter what we're faced with. Because I'll tell you this much, folks, when you see people or children starving, that is what's going to really take your breath away. And you can sit in the chat and think that, well, I can deal with it. I've been there. I've faced that in my face. And I want to say this, and maybe you were there the night I was talking about my uh, accident in the military. It says the video is Armageddon. And I talked about also this horrific story about a mag in Rulo, Nebraska. So I want to put this out there. A lot of, I've never talked about it ever. Hardly anybody on this channel knows. I think there's 2 people that know about this. The reason I have PTSD, the reason that it screwed with me mentally and I didn't speak, is when you see somebody that does not, and I'm just going to put it honestly, that has been partially decapitated, and you hold their hand when they take their last breath, it messes with you. And so when you see somebody that gets shot or stabbed, it's going to screw with you mentally. And that's why I've talked so much on this channel about mental preparedness, because I know from personal experience what it did to me. And I didn't talk for almost 10 days. Can you all believe that, as much as I like to talk? But when I'll put it this way. I left it out of the story because I didn't know if I could handle it. And then somebody said, you should say it to make people really realize how dramatic that experience was for you. And I said, you're right. But see, it gets me choked up to see something like that happen. It affects your spirit. I don't give a shit who you are. It affects your spirit. And the thing is we had that car that we wrecked off that cliff that day had a sunroof. Renee, rest in peace. She went out of the sunroof. She came back in. And when she came back in, it caught her head. So when I woke up, you can imagine what I seen. And I tell you this much right now. You can act like I can handle this or I can handle that. But until you have it in your face, you're not going to know how you're going to react. And I was very, very young. I was 19 or 20 years old when that happened. And it's very traumatic. And when a traumatic experience happens, or say, for example, you can't get out of the traumatic thing, say that all shit breaks loose and everywhere you look, you see something traumatic. it's going to affect each one of us different. It's going to be very ugly, very ugly. Yeah, and see, Annie Oakley, you've had experience with it. You've had experience with seeing some of these terrible things, but many people haven't. So that's why I always talk about mental preparedness. And that's why I always talk about being centered, because being able to take your everything you got and pulling it back down into you, centered, is so important. Because I could have stayed in that zone where I continued to not talk. I could have stayed in the zone where I was angry at the world and I fought. I fought so much, y'all. I got put on report like 4 times that year after that wreck because someone would say something to me and I was so mad and didn't know how to deal with it. And I was young that I started taking it out on people around me. And that is a true life story. And that's truly how it affected me. I was so angry and so pissed off. You could look at me cross-eyed and I would just boom on top of you without a warning. And see, when those things happen, when you see people starving or you see someone shot or injured and you can't get out of the situation, that's when you're going to be tested to the max. And when you get that test to the max, you're not going to know how you're going to respond until it happens. Who would ever think that me personally, that I would respond in anger? Because I've always had my faith. And I'll tell you the truth. As soon as I started talking again and they sent me to the island, back to the island to go to work, and I was on light duty for quite a while, they sent me out there. And I decided one night I had not went into the club. The club was where the restaurant was. And I decided to go get a cheeseburger. And I went up in to get a cheeseburger. And a first class said something to me. Now at the time I'm an E3, he's an E7. He looked at me cross-eyed and he said something. I picked up a table, a restaurant table, and threw it across the restaurant. And at the same time I picked up a chair and hit him over the back with it. And the fight was on. And the MPs had to pull me off. And see, those triggered moments each one of us will have. And I'm telling you because I think it's really important that you have to realize that you can talk all the shit you want in the chat. You can talk all this craziness. But until you have it in your face, like Annie Oakley 777 or Doug when he got shot here in our chat, or me with this dramatic life threatening where we lost somebody, until you see it in your face, you're not going to know how you react. You know, Annie Oakley 777 being in an ER, working in an ER, I'm sure that it hurt her. I know that even Dragonflies working in and around elders as she watched them perish, it got to her. And see, those are the things that build us so that we can center, that we can come back and center. And it's very important, folks, that you mentally prepare yourself for the absolute worst bullshit that you could ever imagine. I hope tonight that this live has brought you to a center that you say, and you're right, Josh, it never will leave me. Once, for like the first 6 months, I had horrific nightmares, and all I would see is her face with her eyes staring at me. And it was a terrible, terrible nightmare. And I used to wake up with night sweats and a hellacious scream and just want to go ballistic. But you know, time does heal wounds. But when you don't have the time to heal the wounds, what happens then? It is. It is. I'm sure it was, Annie. I'm sure it was. To see little children probably was the worst. When you see a small child perish because of starvation, that's even worse. Because it's not instant, right? It's not instant. It's going to be slow and miserable. and agonizing, and you're going to watch that. So if you have little ones, this is the time that you better take prepping serious, and that you better figure out plan A, B, C, and O shitter. And you get them involved at a young age, not to horrify them, not to scare them, but to prepare them for what's coming. You're welcome, No Truth in Your Lies. You're welcome. Yep. Yep. Dragonflies had a very serious situation when she was a teenager with that. And also, I don't know, I think she was maybe 15 or maybe younger when her little brother got hit on the highway. Oh, she was younger. She was 9 or 10. And when Matthew got hit on the highway and he was bleeding from every orifice, and she's the one that ran down there and seen him like that. And he is now permanently disabled, and he's been permanently disabled his whole life. And, you know, these things, when you talk about these things, this is what's going to prepare you for what's coming. And what's coming is not going to be pretty, folks. And it's not going to go away. We can wish it away. We can hope and wish it away. But it's what's going to happen. It's already here. It's already happening. Hey, Super Dave. Thanks for stopping in. Glad to see you. I know this was a very serious live tonight. But I think that there's a time and a place. And I think, folks, I care about all of you. And I don't want to see you perish. And I don't want to see you live and watch your child perish because you didn't prep. Because you didn't take at the time to learn the skills. You just ran around and have fun on YouTube, and you didn't take none of it serious. Because I'm telling you right now, what's coming? We're all going to be thrown back real hard. We have a military situation brewing. We have the NWO, the Great Reset, the Agenda 2030, the food supply, the railways, the ships, the Trojan horse. Do I need to continue? And I know that I'm very serious tonight, but it's because I care about y'all. And it's because I truly want to see us thrive through this. Not just make it, but actually be able to go on. Our grandparents did it. Our ancestors did it. And you're right, Benzo Breakers. We got rough times ahead of the United States, especially when we have the total collapse of the American dollar. The day that happens, we're all going to really be thrown back. I want to say from here, our little piece of heaven here in the Ozarks to wherever you're at, God bless you. If you missed the live this morning about Beth D, go watch it. But keep your boots on the ground. Learn the skills. Because when all the supplies run out, the skills is what will bring you through. And I truly care. Don't give up. Don't give in. And know that we can all do it. It's just going to take a lot of hard work. And it's going to take a lot of community, like the Amish, to keep us going. God bless y'all from here in the Ozarks to wherever you're at. And you know how we do it at the OTWP. Let's bring it back centered. God bless y'all. Till I see you again. We are having a live tomorrow night, and then I won't see you for about a week because we'll be traveling. So, y'all, do the dang thing. Don't give up. Don't give in. And don't capitulate any longer because there's no time like the present to stand up for what's right and what's wrong. And honestly, no matter what happens, we can make it. We just got to be the doers, not the watchers. This goes out to all of you. God bless.
Just don't do and do that's the start. 'Cause watchers don't do, and doers don't watch. Let's get to it, let's get it done. You, let's step it up a notch. We can do it, we can get it done. Don't do, and doers don't watch. Watchers don't do, so let's step it up a notch. We can do it, we can get it done. And doers don't watch. Watchers don't do, and doers don't watch. So let's get to it, let's get it done. You, let's step it up a notch. We can do it, we can get it done. And doers don't watch. Watchers don't do, so let's step it up a notch. We can do it, we can get it done. 'Cause we're doers, yes we're doers. 'Cause we're doers, and doers don't watch.
Take everything we got, give it an honest shot, turning it on and off, we've been sliding, riding the highest dream, keeping the fire real. I call for you. Hold your gun, cut the wire, aim for fun, with a light your fire. I'll be flying up the ceiling, taken by this feeling, maybe we're invisible at last. Fueling every engine, power is descending, maybe we're invisible. Over the coming days, let's cut to the chase. this feeling, baby, we're invincible.
Keep doing the dang thing. Don't give up. Don't give in. And really, be prepared for anything because it's coming our way. God bless you from here in the Ozarks to wherever you're at. Big, huge prepper hugs. Beth D, you're in our thoughts and our prayers on a daily basis, as well as all of you. I hope that you all enjoyed tonight's live. I'll see you tomorrow night, my friends, and watch because OTWP TV News has a lot coming out. It might get a strike, but it's coming out. God bless you. And soon in May, we'll start OTWP Underground on Rumble. You can look for this background and know that you're on the right channel, the OTWP Underground. There is, I believe, a couple videos over there. Not much, but look for that, the OTWP Underground. And we will be having a lot of lives over there. Remember, keep going with the flow because the flow may save your ass.